Welcome to Oriental Secret Garden channel. In this fast-changing world, we've grown used to chasing speed, precision, and standardization. But some things are meant to take time, to be shaped by hands slowly, to be carved one stroke at a time. China is a country developing at astonishing speed. Cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen now stand shoulder to shoulder with the world's great metropolises, modern, bright, and full of movement. Yet at the same time, this vast land holds countless places still simple, slow, even rough, but deeply rooted in real life. In one such southern village lies a stone carving workshop we've partnered with for many years. Here, 60 to 70% of the residents make a living through stonework, sourcing materials, cutting, grinding, carving, and packing. Every step is part of someone's livelihood. In many homes, 3 generations may work around the same craft. There are no weekends or holidays. When there's an order, there's work. As long as the hands can move and the lights are on, the carving continues. Men usually take on the more physical tasks like cutting and sculpting. Women help with sales, logistics, or caring for the household. It's a system built not in factories, but in homes, a small, self-sustaining economy. What we make isn't grand monuments in palaces or temples, but it could be a finely made sculpture placed on a desk or a shelf in someone's home. It might be small, but not lacking in refinement. It's meant to be touched, felt, lived with, not merely admired from a distance. Each stone is natural, untreated, undyed, nothing synthetic added. We source our materials from markets where stones arrive from all over the world. They're chosen piece by piece based on their color, texture, shape, and of course, price. After selection, the stone must be cut, shaped, roughly ground. Then comes design and carving. A key skill here is something we call chao diao, skillful carving. It means using the natural color transitions and flaws of the stone as part of the artwork, letting the material itself guide the design. Carving a small piece typically takes 2 to 3 hours, just for the carving alone. This doesn't count the many failed attempts, a hidden crack, a break, a misjudged cut, and hours of labor, plus the stone itself, are lost. In our workshop system, a beginner needs at least 2 years of training before they can complete even a simple sculpture on their own. For veteran craftsmen, those who've carved for decades, we call their work master carvings. Their creations carry not just skill, but the weight of experience and quiet judgment. Every morning, the workshop shutters rise. Machines whir to life. Stone dust fills the air. These workshops are loud, hot, and dusty. In summer, there's no air conditioning or ventilation. Even in the heat, workers must wear masks, goggles, and heavy gear to protect themselves from stone chips and dust. It's physically intense. Protective gear becomes stifling. Sweat drenches clothes. Breathing becomes labored. In winter, the cold bites deep. There's no heating. Workers still must use water during the cutting process to cool the blades. But with no gloves, hands go raw. Cracks open on the skin. Frostbite is common. Some may ask, why not improve the working conditions? Why not carve in air-conditioned studios with proper facilities? We wish it were that simple, but reality doesn't always match ideals. In villages like this, such infrastructure doesn't exist. And moving to urban workshops with better conditions. There, few people are still willing to take on this physically demanding craft. And above all, there's price competition, the invisible force behind everything. If the cost rises, the products become uncompetitive. No sales, no income, no sustainability. We often hear sympathetic words. You should improve things for the workers. But we rarely hear the next part. I'm willing to pay more to make that possible. This is the contradiction between understanding and action, between compassion and cost, between what we wish the world could be and what the market allows. We don't pretend to have the answers. We only know. Saying this out loud matters, even if it can't fix everything. The price of each sculpture, whether it's $30,000 or $3,000, represents far more than just the stone. It includes the hours of quiet labor, the mistakes and recoveries, the judgment of each cut. We don't aim for perfection. We aim for presence, real human presence in every piece. Stone carving has a long tradition in China. There are Southern schools, Northern styles, and ornate imperial designs. It's a lineage passed not through books, but from master to apprentice. In recent years, we've also embraced new themes. Western influences have entered, especially in animal sculptures and figurative forms. These weren't common in traditional Chinese carving, but through conversations with craftsmen and designers, we've reinterpreted and adapted them in new ways. In this changing world, we're often asked, how will AI affect this field? Truth is, we don't fully know. Designs can now be generated in seconds. Machines can carve with speed and precision. But even so, we believe there are limits. AI can copy form, but not intuition. It can simulate style, but not judgment. It doesn't hesitate before a cut. It doesn't feel resistance in the stone. It doesn't sweat in summer or shiver in winter. And it cannot ever carve soul into stone. This isn't the first time handcraft has been pushed aside. Since the industrial age, mass production has swept across the world. Fast, clean, identical. But what survives? What do we still seek out today? The imperfect, the personal, the human-made. We collect not the flawless, but the soulful. We cherish what holds warmth, carries time, bears touch. Maybe the future will change everything. Maybe life will become unrecognizable. We don't know. But what we can do, right now, is continue to carve, to work with sincerity, to meet the future with a steady hand and an honest heart. Every stone carries its own warmth, and if you pause and take the time to look, it might just tell you its story. Now, let us take a moment to appreciate the works created by these real, hard-working artisans.